All right, I want to welcome on my next guest. We got Doc Walker, Super Bowl champion, one of the hosts of Doc and Goldie and the Team 980. Monday through Friday, Doc, how's everything going?
It's going fantastic, man. Under circumstances, I can't be mad.
Awesome. So we're about a month removed from the draft. What were your initial takeaways?
More so how the NFL dealt with it. I thought they did a great job. I was kind of looking forward to being in Vegas for the hoopla, but I actually enjoyed the intimacy of seeing coaches and staff members, how they live. I thought it was much better, and I never want to go back to the, dressing guys up in suits. And no, I like what they did. So
cool.
it ended up being one of the highlights so far of COVID-19.
Definitely. So you were. I've heard people say they want to incorporate some of these aspects into future drafts, but you're fine with them just doing this every year?
I'm fine with it doing it, that way. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Because I think we're going to have to look at the realization.
Yeah.
You may never go back to the way things were.
No.
So I'm like, adapt your mindset to it.
Yeah.
Get into it, because it could be the new way to go.
Absolutely. I thought it went great. And I get the whole thing, a lot of people had doubts and maybe they shouldn't do it. I'm like, if everybody's being safe, just do it. I think they did a great job. So early question about your early career. What made you choose UCLA?
Dick Vermeil. The fact that I just loved the campus, and I just sensed that something was going on. I mean, SC was killing people at the time. But we had a great group of guys. I just kind of felt that if we got our thing together, we could get on a hell of a run, and we did.
Yeah. Did you ever cross paths with Lou Alcindor or John Wooden while you were over there?
No, Lou and those guys are gone. My class is Richard Washington, Marcus Johnson.
Oh, cool.
Those guys, so we hung out. I mean, those guys were like gods at the time on campus. So it was kind of cool to have to earn your space on campus, because you weren't the big dog. No. Bruin basketball was, it was stupid how good it was. So that was kind of cool, being able to, you humbled by it, but you wanted a piece of it. And you had to go out. You had to beat SC. You got to win a Rose Bowl. You got to beat Ohio State. You got to do the things that they did in order to be treated like they were treated on a smaller scale.
And speaking of the Rose Bowl, so you guys did beat Ohio State. You did beat Archie Griffin. What was that like?
Yeah. Every victory, the bigger the platform, the bigger the prize. Whether it's beating Southern Cal on John McKay's last day as a coach, or beating an undefeated Ohio State team, it's big game hunting. And when you get in it, you're not always guaranteed to win it, but to win it is really one of those highlights, because it's a team deal and everybody had a part in it. And I love to be doubted. People doubt you. Yeah. Most people don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. They're fans, and you don't have to be an expert to be a fan. Part of it, you being a fanatic is what makes it go. But there's so much about the insides of it. If you're not a participant, don't even waste your time. Just enjoy the fun part about it, because it's boring and it makes you a lunatic, because you have to become so obsessed with things and you train so hard for it, and you don't always get it. But boy, when you do, and then you get on the succession, because to me, I keep lifetime stats. I'm not about a season. It's about overall. How many championships have you been a part of, or whatever? How many times you've been undefeated? How many times you come from behind to win? What's your greatest comeback win? So there's a whole bunch of different elements in it. It might be no people in the stands. It don't matter. We beat Philadelphia when you're up in Philadelphia. We had no business winning that game. But Coach Gibbs got upset at halftime. We were not really as disciplined as we ought to have been. Come back, you win. Mosley kicks a field goal, you win. Giants, the year we had great record, we had a lot of come from behind wins. People look at that team, those first Super Bowl 17 team, like, weren't the Chiefs. We were coming from behind. Mosley one year was MVP of the league, the place kicker. And everybody talks about, that's why we love Mo. Mo bailed us out. the defense bails you out. Field position is everything. Nobody's more important than a punter on fourth down. So the game is broken down to fragments. Everybody loves the quarterback and the star receiver and star running back. That's fine. Show me the last great receiver that led a team to a Super Bowl.
Been a while.
But yet everybody, since Jerry Rice was on the Niners, I don't know nobody's even come close. You're not going to come close to Jerry, and the results are not going to be there. No, you can blow your brain out thinking about it. It ain't happening. This is a nuts and bolts kind of deal, but I love what's going on now. I love it with the social media, the Mahomes of the league, these young flamethrowers, Andy Reid, the innovation. It's very interesting. I'm like on a hunger strike. I can't believe that I'm 20 years plus and counting from a parade in this town. And I love the Nats, love the Mystics run, love Capitals. There was nothing like that. But I need another parade in my lifetime.
Was the parade, were your parades, how did they measure in terms of size compared
it was raining. We won. We were the firstborn. So the first team to ever win a world championship, you're going to get like your first child. Yeah. Oh, no, they're all the same. Bull crap. The first time you see something that you create, it's hard to get over that. It really is hard to get over it. And so the 72 team was my favorite team of all time. They got to Pasadena. They stayed at the Saddleback Inn in my hometown of Santa Ana, California. Brig Owens is on that team, and I love Brig from my area. So I had a vested interest in them. I knew Charlie Haraway watching those guys, Roy Jefferson. I thought he was a god. And then Charlie Taylor was a god. Jerry Smith was a god. Number 9 before the injury was slinging it. Billy's a Bruin. I got Hermley up front. I got all these guys, and I'm like going, but they lost to the Dolphins in a game, and woulda, shoulda, could, didn't get a job done. But boy, they were so close. Ball hits a crossbar. I mean, Billy had the luck of a lizard. The fake kick. There were so many issues. Not like they got blown away.
Yeah.
And they go back to next year, and Sonny's told us all the story. They smoked them the following year, but it wasn't a Super Bowl. So you just got to live with that. But I respect what the Dolphins put off, and it kind of, for me, it was poetic justice that we got them in 17.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then so going into the draft, what was it like? What was the process? Is it much different than it is today? How long was that when you?
Dude, you challenging my skull. I mean, it's been many moons. Multiple concussions. All I remember is just doing pranks on phones with my boys. We were at an apartment complex in Inglewood. And the funniest thing to do was to call one of your boys and tell them they'd been drafted, and I did it to one of my roomies. And you were doing it done. So when your phone rang, you never thought it was really somebody because all your boys were killing people with the pranks. Is all really what I remember most about it. There's no TV show. There's none of that. Like there's no combine. There was none of that.
Wow.
And in our year in 76, 77, we got robbed because the only thing I really wanted to be a part of in college was the college all-star game to play against the pros.
Yeah.
And they canceled it my year.
Wow.
And I could not get over that. The last one was in Chicago in 76, and they played the Steelers. And that, to me, that was that was like, wow, and they canceled it. So,
wow.
Just times. Like now, I hate to be 12 and have my Little League, my senior season of Little League taken away. Happened to a lot of kids. Graduations are taken care. So COVID-19, I don't complain about anything now because I feel very fortunate to have just had the opportunity. First of all, I just had the best group of coaches and people who cared. So for me, Mike Rush, who's no longer with us, Dick Hill, who was our head coach in high school, but Mike Rush was my position coach, and man, what a guy. Pushing you through where you needed to get to, teaching you. We had these guys, in classes as well, social science. I think about Frank Gans at UCLA. I mean, an outstanding individual, took the time to mentor you, talk you through tough times. You have a Dick Vermeil and a Joe Gibbs all in one career. Are you kidding me?
That's wild.
Now, I had 5 different head coaches my first 5 years, so
Wow.
I felt like I earned the right to be in Joe Gibbs' camp and to go from that, because I had been different coach every year. And it happens. Some guys, you don't survive those waves. Those are waves. You got to be able to be on your knees and get through it, because for whatever reason, I mean, I don't know anybody else to play for 5 different head coaches the first 5 years in the
That's
league.
crazy. That's
and maybe I'm sure somebody has.
Yeah.
But it don't really matter. The key is that, can you survive it?
Yeah. Interesting.
And not only survive it to earn a check, but to survive it to be a champion. And that's the key.
I have a question. So how did your move from Cincy to DC come about?
I was injured. Well, we had a dispute. I was hurt every year I was at. Broke my arm twice my rookie year. Yeah. Then I had ligaments in the ankle second. Then I had a neck. So I was, when they forced me, literally suggested that they forced me back in early. So I said some things that aren't fit for cable and left. I never felt that I had to play pro ball to make a living. I was not victimized by having to be an athlete. It was optional to me. I always felt that you went to school. If not, we'd have just gone to football camp.
Yeah.
But you were a student athlete, and it's whether or not you ever stayed awake in a class, you had the option to be around people and understand socialization, understand how this world operates.
Yep.
Different facets, people from all different diverse backgrounds. You don't realize, I didn't realize how I was raised until I went to college.
Interesting.
My mom did a hell of a job. I didn't realize we didn't have much. I didn't know, because she always had what we needed.
Yeah.
My father was a Marine. He was dead when I was 17. So I had a remarkable childhood by a remarkable individual who was a great provider and leader. So by the time you get to college, you're hearing about people talking about they had cars. We never had a car. Walked there. I mean, these people live. And I'm going, wow, there's a whole different world. Plus, we was in Westwood.
Yeah.
We're in Hollywood. I'm looking at Beverly Hills. I cannot believe it. I'm like going, wow. So when you were taken out of your community, start looking at the world, I'm going, this is unbelievable. I wasn't deprived. She dominated. We had everything we needed.
Yeah.
You didn't get what you wanted all the time, but you had everything you needed. And at that time of my life, what I needed was a Louisville Slugger. I needed a Met and cleats, because baseball my whole world.
Oh,
and all I cared about was being able to get people out and knock the ball over the fence. So my world was really cool. I was like, it's all good. You don't realize it until you get out and start. That's the beauty about education and growth in that. But, I go 5 for 5. I challenge people. If you can have, but now it's perfect in the corporate world. I'm able to relate and understand. People you have to be flexible, because your boss, your circumstances could change. And now we're in COVID-19. This is what flexibility is all about. So I feel like I've been trained. I wouldn't have volunteered for it. Trust me. But it is what it is. And you either have to fight and get through it or submit to it, and no, I had to get through it. And now I see the residual response to it is that everybody has a great plan until something goes wrong.
Yeah.
I watched Joe Gibbs. We were 0-5 with the master. And I learned more about him while we were winless, as much as I did when we were 12-1 and 14-2. Because watching a guy alter his approach and not letting his ego turn it into my offense.
Yeah.
No, he never did that.
Interesting.
It was our plan of attack. And if it didn't work, him coming from Eric Coryell, we didn't have Winslow, Jefferson, Powell. We didn't have them guys. But they didn't win as like we won. So he adjusted, and it taught me, if your first plan fails, you better have a plan B. And your plan B better be better than plan A was. Find a way to get it done. And you also, he didn't have to curse and holler and tear the room apart. I'd had the Newt Rockneys. I've been through all that.
Yeah.
But here's a guy who had a spiritualness about him that was relatable. and his value system. And he told us very clearly what we needed to do in order to win. And when we didn't do it, you're not going to win. You don't force 3 turnovers. You don't average 3.2 on the ground. You don't hold your opponent at 2 point. Those things are benchmarks. He was in the analytics in the 80s.
Interesting.
We didn't call it analytics, but he gave us a pie chart. This is what we have to do to increase our odds of winning.
Yeah.
And it was all about, the roster. It was all about special teams. He wasn't, even though he was an offensive guy, that's because he had to block his whole life. He was a center.
Interesting. I never knew that. That's wild.
Yeah, so most guys that are offensive geniuses like he was, they're quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I love old school quarterbacks. Sonny, Joe, my guys, because they wore the same uniform we wore in practice.
Yeah.
Now they put them in these tutus.
Yep.
And it's not their fault.
No.
But the system has put them to that.
Yeah.
And if I'm gonna pay a guy $30 million a year, I'm not letting you hit him in practice. I understand economics.
Yeah.
Makes sense now. But our guys, I never understood why quarterbacks couldn't call their own plays. I thought that's why you should earn the right to do it through your experience and diligence. Then I understand positioning and understand leverage, how you get new contracts. Coaches want to make money too.
Yeah.
I saw the whole advent of the offensive gurus and the coordinators. It's all bull crap. It's all selling. You're trying to position yourself in a way to get more money for a job.
Yep.
And so I don't mind you doing it. But if you fail, I'm going to call you out.
Yep.
Because you chose to market yourself rather than actually be good about something.
Yep.
And Bill Walsh is the last guy, and really the only guy I refer to with an offense.
Interesting.
The West Coast.
Yeah.
Eric Coryell was Don Coryell, and he was a master at it. And Joe knew all that. And Don won a lot with his. Whatever Joe called it, whatever we were, you call it whatever you want to call it, as long as you call us champions. And he did it with 3 different quarterbacks, 3 different backs. He broke the seal on what everybody worships now. He made a mockery of it.
Yeah.
Simply by making it team first, and being it faceless, but yet having a personality. We had a lot of nuts on the team. He allowed us to be that, and he did not cramp your style, but you understood rules. And so he wasn't soft, but he was a human.
Yeah.
The dude was a human.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that in him and watching him grow and build his foundations and the NASCAR. Nothing he does surprises me. I expect him to do it all. I just wish he was in politics.
Are you surprised he doesn't have a statue in D.C.?
No, I'm not, because, I mean, oh boy, Kenny Houston's final game. I love Kenny Houston, and I saw at the time where he was held out of a game for incentive clauses in his last game here. We've done a lot of things that we should apologize for. When I say we, I've seen the organization do some things that if they could do it again, they should have done it over. I mean, it just, we've had a lot of things, and those are sores and bruises that come up. But we were also the last team to integrate in the nation's capital, which to me is a black eye on America. If you're the most racist team in a league is in the capital, so that tells you a lot about how we used to think.
Yeah.
And I reference all the things that are actualities that involve race and gender, because the people that get bruised and sensitive by it, hang up, go goodbye. Because I lived through it, had to deal with it, and so do you. I didn't start it, but I'm in the process of finishing it. And so don't try to bully people by, well, that was then. Well, people allowed it to happen. So you just can't act like it didn't happen. And we got the footage to prove it. Now what are you going to do about, and we're still fighting for equality as human beings for everybody across the board. And COVID-19 has been a great example of it again, based on the people we lose first, which we consider in our society insignificant because we don't value all humans. And so that's my opinion of it, is that until we really do look in the mirror and say we are Americans, all of us, no matter how we look, we'll never solve this.
Yeah, it's just like you see all these people, just my personal opinion, you see these people like flocking to the beach from a one-day weekend. How many of them do you think are frontline workers? I'd say zero. So it's
They don't. But we got to respect. We respect the light system.
Yep.
We don't. Well, unless we're inebriated. It's red. It is green and yellow.
People on bikes. That's the thing I've always wondered. People on bikes fly through red lights. Nobody talks
Well,
about that.
when we allow it to happen.
Yep. Yeah, it's
You
wild.
know, I'm never ever think we should be embarrassed to have rules and regulations. We need order. You can't run a society with no order.
No.
So we need order. And I was down to Great Falls on Sunday, and I'm driving through because my sneak break now is, okay, social distancing. Just get in your car and drive anywhere you want to go.
Yeah.
You don't violate any rules.
No.
And I don't have to wear I wear the mask out, but not in the car.
Oh, no.
Okay, so I can drop the mask and the gloves and enjoy, some sports radio. But I just think that when I see people just no mask, no gloves, I say, oh, you're going to beat the system. There you go. And then we'll have to walk slowly behind them praying if it don't work out. That's recklessness. And it's a lack of order.
Yep.
And it shows you a lack of leadership.
Yep. Who's
in charge? And right now it's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then so going back to your time in DC, but before you got there the year before Gibbs.
Yeah.
So
played for Jack Pardee.
So what changed in the locker room as soon as he walked through the door?
Well, nothing, because we went 0-5. I mean, what changed was he was implementing a plan, and his first plan failed. We couldn't win the game. Now, I think we were number one in the league in offense. Whatever shows you the stats. I love stats now.
Yeah.
I love stats. They, to me, have become 1/4 of sports.
Yeah.
My boy Al Galdi, I love him to death. I just think it is. But it's not half. It's not 2/3.
Interesting.
It's 1/3. And I'll give him that. It could be a fourth. However you want to break it down, it's very important because we were always doing it. We just weren't talking about it. So we can't act like it just happened. We've always done it. Joe Gibbs was a master at it. But unless you can make it work on a team standpoint, I don't know how you get results. We pay more people for failure in pro football than any other sport in the world, in my opinion.
Yep. That's interesting. It's wild. And then so 82. So when the strike was going on, did you have a feeling the season was going to commence, or did you have your doubts?
No idea. I mean, we flew out and did a game in California at the Coliseum for $500. Got to play for Jerry Smith, who was our coach here. And there were some really good things that went good. Interesting things, how we stuck together, worked out on our own. There's a brotherhood with that group and people that went through it that's unlike anything you can imagine. And then to have it come back and our team stayed the closest. We like now, I think Ron Rivera's group, I really believe they can beat the pack in activity because he's experienced it before himself.
Yeah.
Plus he went through as a player. I think should be headed, and he is.
Yeah.
Now, if the players buy in, because I look at this team coming up for the Skins a lot like our team.
Interesting.
Coming off the strike. I really do. A lot of similarities in that you didn't know about Joe. You don't know about Ron here. Ron, the track record, Joe had too.
Yeah.
But because they are they're built similarly built in that grounded guys, discipline. They got it, in that order. That's why I think those two guys actually being friends, the fact that Gibbs may have counseled him, I think it's very important. Because whenever, success leaves clues.
Yeah.
And you need to look at it, well, wait a minute, this guy has been sitting down talking to the master of Joe Jackson Gibbs. Man, let me be in that meeting when they're just talking ball. And one's a defensive guy, one's an offensive perspective. So that's the challenge I love, the hit and match about Ron played against us. We played against Ron and beat us at RFK. I hate that, but it happened. The Bears, they had a great defense. 84 Bear defense was loaded. 85 was great. Seeing those guys. So to me, Jack Del Rio, Joe, they've kind of been there. We're not experimenting. It's not like I like Coach Zorn, but it's not, hey, he came in for one. Oh, now I'm the head coach. Come on, man. What is this? It's not a clown show. We're talking about big business.
Yeah.
And so I think we're so far ahead. I think this staff, Joe Gibbs said it often, the most important thing he received from Jack King Cook was he got all 12 of the people he put on the list that he wanted to be on his staff.
Interesting.
So when you get the people you want,
Yeah.
not that they give you, or, hey, can you do my boy a favor?
Yeah.
I got a friend I used to play with his dad. Hey, man, that's how you lose. You want to lose? Start hiring a bunch of people that don't know what the hell they're doing.
Exactly.
Quickest way to be Owen whatever. So I like the way they're building it. North Turner, son, Scott is like third generation. It's like growing up in the automotive business. If your old man's a mechanic, your dad sold cars, you grew up in there, it ain't surprising that you end up leading the nation and selling BMWs or Mercedes or whatever. We're looking at people that didn't go out and didn't have birthday parties. They went out and played touch. When you grow up in a sport, what more do you want? Kyle Smith, his old man's AJ. Guess who was the coach's boss? AJ. He told Shannon, he fired a man that was 14 too. I mean, and his son had to be around when they were talking about it. He overheard things. He's been in the football environment since his crib. You need people like that. Doug Williams is still in the building. He's an unbelievable asset.
Yeah.
But they would never let him talk to players. How stupid can you be to have a guy that's universally loved all over the world, and you may have a problem, go talk to Doug. And the quarterbacks, nope, I can't do that. Doug used to come on the show and tell us, hey, I just stay in my lane. I used to think, what damn freeway are you guys on? The freeway going nowhere, okay? And that's why they all deserve to lose their gigs.
Yep.
Because they mismanaged it, in my opinion. They mismanaged it.
Yeah.
They had some great resources. Jay cried out for help. He tried to tell us they weren't on the same page, infighting. One coach doing it, you can't do it. All that's done.
Yep.
And now with Zoom, it even makes it more competitive because not only are you introducing yourself to people you don't know and they don't know you, it forces you to be a better communicator.
Yeah.
And in my personal opinion, we had some of the worst communicators of all time associated with this group as coaches. It doesn't work. Now you have to communicate. You got to develop an understanding. And then you add discipline in on it because you can't win if everybody's happy.
Yeah.
It just don't work. You know, everybody likes to act like we had no hard times. We threw up on many occasions and hated everything that was going on at the time. Winning cleanses and all that. But the pain and, yeah, you got to do it. You got to do things that other people refuse to do if you want to get the results that few people will ever get.
Yeah. And then, so I have a question. So you played tight end for the Skins for years. What is your overall your thoughts on their position, that position group now?
Oh, some great guys. They just get horrible results. You know, we don't secure the line of scrimmage. We're just, it has been one of the biggest disappointments for me and working with Chris Cooley, who was fantastic at the position and got a chance to do his thing. He also had Joe too. And he had, that position it's a gold mine. If you like versatility and you like dual responsibilities, you got to learn the whole offense. A lot of responsibility with it. But to me, it's the most challenging, most fun thing you can do if your brain's set up for it. They've had guys that are phenomenal athletes. Vernon, Jordan, you can't get better. The most gifted people I've ever seen. But unfortunately, you cannot survive if you can't run the ball. You know, and they're blocking, and I don't blame the guys. They were allowed to get away with it. So if somebody's going to let you throw a chicken arm, a chicken wing out, and fall nobody, we'd have been cussed out from the yard marker by Joe Gibbs. You wouldn't have wanted to face him. See, it's a different era, man. It's different responsibilities. Listen, would I rather trade with them and not get hit, get my neck broken, arm broken, Yeah, but that wasn't on my list. You get your list. This is what you need to do. You got to go do it. If you don't want to do it, leave. It's supply and demand. But nobody demanded of the people they put out there. They just allowed them to do whatever they want to do. To me, it's like child rearing. If you let your kid do exactly what he does, chances are things aren't going to work out the way you like them to in the end. And so it's called tough love. I don't even call it tough. It's called love. It means you want somebody to complete something they start, you know, and you don't have the gumption to coach them through, lead them through. To me, it's unacceptable. defensively, being last on third down,
Yep.
blowing assignment. Look, we've lost games. You can lose games.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to blow an assignment, forget the snap count. No, lose with honor,
Yeah.
you know. And so there's a lot of things that I think are now going to be behind us. I really believe this group is going to clean up this mess.
Do you think bringing in guys like you see Chase Young and a veteran like Thomas Davis, you think those are just guys you need in the locker room?
Thomas Davis, if I had a company, and the moment he retires, I've seen him once, maybe after the game, shook his hand, know him. Based on what I know of him, I want him as a part of my company.
Interesting.
You're damn right. You win with people, man. You win with people. This dude led the Chargers in tackles. Was he 40 last year or whatever? And we got it. His age don't matter. He had double ACLs.
I think 3. I think is it 3?
Maybe 3. He played with a broken arm, and I'm telling you, this dude. I haven't met him yet, but when I get the opportunity to go by there, first guy I hug. I don't shake his hand. I hug him. COVID-19, I hugging him because this dude is what it's all about. That assures me that we got a better chance now. Because he's not going to let the failure and the lapse in discipline occur. Not going to happen with him because he leads by example.
Yeah.
So does John Allen. So does Ioannidis. All those. Let me tell you what. They got some great guys.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
their record doesn't allow you to accept it. And I would say it. If they're garbage, I say they're garbage.
Yeah.
It's never personal with me. I want them to win every game.
Yeah.
I got a lot of Cowboys fans. I would love us to be the next undefeated team and talk trash.
Yeah.
But I do respect the guys that I respect based on how they work. I have no problem. The way these guys go. Now, if you get Softy the Snowman and allows you to get away with stuff, they're human. I'd do the same thing. I never volunteered to go through run the whole Duke gauntlet. But when he said do it, I did it. But I wouldn't go, hey, coach, I got an idea. How about – man, be real. I mean, no. But I like these guys. There's a lot of these dudes, man, I go to war with. Unfortunately, you got like Clinton and Quentin Dunbar was one of those. I love Dunny, but Dunny missed too many games for me. I love a lot of these guys, but hey, if you're not going to play, I can't use you. It's in a radio TV show.
No.
I need you to participate in the contest.
Yep.
Who misses half a season?
Yeah.
You turn on your TV, you see actors on the episode, oh, Star, he's not going to be here today. What are you talking about?
He's week to week. He's week to week.
Yeah, he's week to week. No, it don't work that way. Man up, show up, do your job, take your check. Yeah, I don't buy that. They get too many excuses for me.
Interesting. And I have a question about post football. So was there a learning curve kind of breaking into the media, or was it relatively easy for you?
Well, I started that in college. I mean, the learning curve is that you got to know what you want.
Yeah.
I saw Eddie Alexander out, KNBC, Los Angeles, Jim Rogan, all the guys out in LA. And I go, wow. And Bernie Casey was a hero of mine. We were in acting. We at UCLA, you at USC, you're around it. You got an opportunity to meet a lot of different people. And it really, socialization, you grow up quickly. I just said, I picked baseball at 12 to be my lifelong passion. And I thought I would do nothing but pitch for the Dodgers. That's all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
But then when I hurt my arm and could no longer throw wacky stuff, you go into your first plan B of your life. And so if you're a baseball player, how do you play baseball? If you're a pitcher, you lose velocity. You can't throw splitters. You can't do it. You play shortstop, you can't make the throw anymore. And you go to second, all of a sudden it's no fun. And so you're forced, you're 12 and you're 13, 14, and you're making life decisions based on, I was driven by one thing, baseball.
Interesting.
Yeah, my father everybody. I'm from the era in the 60s where you played catch with your man and your uncle. Everything you did socially, you played catch. Like these kids go out, surf the internet. We played catch. We threw balls. We batted ball. We were outdoors playing everything. And baseball was the pastime. It was as big as football now.
Yeah.
I come from baseball, boxing, horse racing.
Yeah.
That's what I heard my old man. They slamming dominoes there, watching the races, the fight, Sonny Liston. They loved all that. So for me, baseball and Little League, Pony League, I was undefeated at 13. I was 25-0. So my first sport of being undefeated was baseball.
Interesting.
I thought it was the best sport in the world because you thought you could score games in the stands. We had signals. I go to high school games now, and the quarterbacks are having to run over to a coach who tells them what to do. It kills me to see that. I want to say, hey, coach, I had signals at 11. Don't harbor kids. Expand their growth.
It's the same thing I'm always noticing, like especially when I'm a big basketball fan. So anytime you're watching, like end of game, team's down by 1, they get the rebound. The coach calls a timeout. You don't have these. You should know these plays.
There you go. I'm like, let them play through, but then that's not everybody's pop.
I know.
Everybody's not pop of it. It was O'Reilly when he was with the Lakers. So I am a student of the game, love the dynamics of it. But I had great coaches, Jim Womack in Little League and Mr. Cole. So when they teach you a sport, and Herschel Music runs a baseball department in Santa Ana Valley, and he's with the Kansas City Royals scouting deal. Man, we had baseball IQ.
Interesting.
So to be in any other sport and to be coached and people are primitive and they don't understand the nuances, technology, that I get bored by that. That's why I love Joe. He's so innovative, constantly changing, changing the offense every week, we had a base core, but everything else was smoke and mirrors, movement. You had to run a mile before the ball was snapped every play. All those things were advantages that Joe built in. And if you could keep up from the neck up, you had a chance. If you couldn't, you had no chance.
I have a question. You said you met a lot of people when you were at UCLA. Did you ever cross paths with Wilt?
I saw Wilt, but Wilt was a Laker.
Yeah.
Being a Bruin, you see Wilt, the beach or whatever. But no, because I was never and never have been a guy who's like, oh my God, look who that. We were doing our own thing. We were ranked second in the country.
Yeah.
But I wasn't looking for nothing. We had it. We had the thing.
Yeah.
And the Bruins were it. And I was fine. But we had so many of these people around us. To me, Elgin Baylor was a god.
Yeah.
Jerry West was a god. I talked to Jerry Sipperstans watching hoop games, the men's gym, Walt Frazier. You were around so many people, it was normal. That's probably why I got it. It was normal. You go in, a lot of pros guys who play in the NFL would come back. They'd work out in the offseason. Yeah. They might finish up. You see these people all the time, Ferraris, Porsches. It's you're in Westwood. Yeah. So I was never, I was figuring out, what do you want to do? You see guys get hurt, but I was going, what is fun? What would drive you if you weren't a player, if you could not play? And it's being as close to the game as possible. And I love the idea of being in a live event and having a role, whether it's upstairs on the carpet and wherever. Being a part of something that is so big, that has a Super Bowl to end it, or a Stanley Cup, it's got to have an ending that is unbelievable. And you get to go through that journey and be eligible for that. As a non-player, I'm still pulling for the team because I want to go back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I want to be in the environment as a reporter or sideline guy or color analyst from that vantage point. That's just how I am. I want to be as close to the game as I can be. And then this is to be able to interpret it to people who really care.
Yeah.
And tell them something that I think they seldom get. And that's just the truth about what's going on.
Yeah. And speaking of, it's like when you were playing RFK was a madhouse. What last season when you see FedEx just basically overrun by
broke my heart. I've tried to convey this to Al Galdi. I know it's personal for me, because I get there early. I'm there 4 hours before every game.
Yeah.
I go. So when the fans come in, I walk around the base and see they become regulars.
Yeah.
I see the guys in the lower box. I go by, especially the visitors, Cowboy fans, Eagle fans, Giant fans. I know, hey, man, we got, hey, may the best team win.
Yeah.
I ain't mad. But I'm coming back and we winning up the fourth quarter and talk trash. I'm also coming back and we're losing, so you can talk trash to me. We have a ongoing feud. We can do this thing.
Yeah.
As long as it's not vulgar, I'm in. Because at the end of the day, it's just a little bit of bragging rights. But the guys, we're not making a dime. I'm not betting. But I do love going to see our staples, guys that I've seen there every stinking year that I've been involved with this organization. And probably the favorite part of the stadium to me are the workers at the stadium.
Yeah.
People that let you in, the security people, because I've seen them now year after year, and you understand their families, and they show you pictures, you show them pictures. They're in burgundy and gold, I'm in burgundy and gold, and there's a connection there. And lately we've been getting our teeth kicked in. So at the end of it all, we walk by, we somber, we say, hey, we'll go after next week. See you next week. And it's an ongoing relationship. And they're not in the luxury box, and I'm not mad at the luxury box people. Hell, I'd love to be one of them.
Yeah.
But I also think every part of the stadium has its own personality.
Yeah.
And what made RFK so unique was that there were no boxes. Everybody was one. And you can never redo that. And I'm all for boxes because that's how you make the money.
Yeah.
I'm a cow. I'm all for how you make the money.
Yeah.
But I also know that a lot of those fans, even in the luxury box, even in the owner's box, there's some real cool dudes and gals who are competitive.
Yeah.
They're just not up there sipping on mint juleps. There's some really competitive people who bleed burgundy and gold. So I don't typecast. There's some real fans everywhere. I just wish that there were a little bit more intermingling.
Yeah, I remember I went to a game a couple of years ago, and they were playing Philly, and then after the game, Philly fans were just harping at us the whole time. So it's right on cue.
Yeah.
So after the game, we're leaving, and I think they play Eagles, and they were playing Dallas next week. And the guy walks up to me, he goes, "I hate the Redskins." He goes, "But I hate the Cowboys more. You better beat the hell out of them next week."
Right.
So it's wild. It's wild.
It's just the way it is, man. It's. But I love it because it's something going on. And win, lose, or draw. I mean, we're averaging winning one game a year now within the division. Man, that is just not good.
No.
It doesn't settle well with me. But I can't quit. I would never quit. I got to see the parade through. And that's my goal. My whole motto is I got to see the parade through. I just need another parade.
When they hired Rivera around New Year's, did that give you a sense of hope? Like, all right, we're getting there.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I went over there January 2nd. I think the day he showed up, and just to let him know. I mean, we're Pac-12. Well, we were all old Pac-8 guys, but I'd let him know him and Jack Del Rio. Man, we're in an East Coast bias environment. They sleep while Pac-10 game, Pac-12 games. So I told them, but we got presence here, and just congratulations. I played against Coach and Del Rio when he was in Jacksonville. I've covered, Sunday night. One of the crazy things about Jacksonville, he was doing a hell of a job. Pittsburgh, not only did they humiliate us on Monday night, they do it to everybody. I'm at a game, doing a game for Westwood One, maybe a Sunday night game, and Pittsburgh must have had 40,000 people there. And Del Rio's boys came out and slammed. They went after. It was a war. So I always go up to Jack, hey, Trojan, give him some love from the Pac-12. But I just feel we're in good hands. Now, because of Zoom, I haven't seen them do anything with anybody, but they've been there before. They're not experimenting. So, yeah, I trust that whole operation, but I'm not expecting them to go 16-0, okay? You got to fight through. They're going to hit some bumps. But they'll get through it as long as, the players commit to the whole program. It's about the players, man.
Yeah.
Man up. Do your job. Belichick, this is number one saying. Just do your job.
Yep.
He didn't say do it great. He just said do your job. If everybody does that, we'll have a good shot.
What do you need for Haskins this year? Is it statistics or comfortability you want to see?
I don't give a damn about his stats. I want him to win. Yeah. As long as he wins, we're good. I got no problem with it. I judge all my quarterbacks the same. I judge them by win-losses. And it's unfair as hell to them. But I can't do the passing. What difference does it make? He hit for 400 yards. Did they win? No. Well, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he threw for 186 yards, did we win? Yeah, we won. All right, my man.
That works.
I don't care. I don't care. I want to win the game. Because for me, it's the tournament. I got to get in the tournament. I just can't be in it. There's a playoffs. I'm not in it. No, I got to be in the tournament. Because I can't get to the game without being in the tournament. So, I don't begrudge. Look, I work with Mr. Stats. Love Galdi. Go ahead, man. Get all the numbers you need. Only number I care about
is W.
The W. That's it.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. So one last question for you. So when everything sort of goes back to normal and everything is safe to do, whenever that may be, what's the first
If
thing?
it does.
Cross your fingers. What's the first thing you're looking forward to doing?
Well, it depends on what category it's in. Going to work. If I go back to the job, seeing Agnes at the Team 980, she's receptionist of the year. And she went out and had surgery before the holidays. So I haven't seen her since maybe December and of last year. Not anytime this year. Still have her Christmas gift, haven't given it to her.
Wow.
And so I think to me as an individual, because she lights up the entire office and she's been doing it for 30 years.
That's awesome.
I think that is one person, but because we have not missed a day of work, I don't feel like I'm working. I just haven't been in the building.
Yeah.
But I'm on the air every day from the house. So from right like we're talking, I'm doing my show same way. So and I feel like I've been on the Beltway for 45 years. I feel like I'm not going to apologize for not being stuck in traffic 2 hours every day.
Yeah.
I'm going to accept the fact that I'm turning over a new leaf.
Yeah.
And I got to figure it out. The emissions, I can see parts of the world you couldn't even see visually. I think the earth says, oh, thank you. It's kind of like, this is a weird thing going on, man, because there are some benefits to this, although it has been a tragedy.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to grow on the positive. And I just am not, I take the positive out of it. Nothing I can do about it. Make the best of it. And it would be, to answer your question, to see Agnes, to see she's healthy. That's awesome. And to be okay. And I'm sure have lost people, So it'll be weird. But I'm not even certain that I'll ever go back in a building.
Really?
I can do my job from home. I mean, I'm not in a position. This is okay. I can adjust to this. Yeah. And because I can get more done. Yeah. I can actually be more efficient.
Interesting.
From where I am now, because I get 2 hours of my life to do what I feel like doing with it every day. And so I thought I'd hate it because I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
But this new habit, once it's safe, I don't see any reason why I reverse it.
It's like you're telling me I don't have to get up that early, and you're telling me I don't have to sit in traffic. Well, I'm good with that. So,
I can adjust to it.
Exactly.
But I didn't mind 5:30, 6 a.m. That's what I did.
Yeah.
But now, and I am aging a little bit, so, and there's nothing I can do about it.
No.
So I'm going to make the best of it.
Absolutely.